What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start this show by being transparent. Haven't had a show since Friday. Um, Sunday, my top play was a winner, but I did not win another game besides that. It was pretty bad. Um, Thursday, I won that Bengals game we talked about. I don't know. Oh, we did come back on Friday. I didn't talk to you on Friday, I don't think, but or no. Last show was Thursday. So yeah, I won the Bengals. I talked about that London game under. That was my top play that I won. And then the other plays that were not top plays lost, Rob Veno. So need to cut out some of those and do a little bit better. How was everything for you over the weekend?
Yeah, it was a little mixed ski because it wasn't great on Saturday. College football was underwater on Saturday, but then NFL. If I go back to Thursday, like you say with that Pittsburgh Cincinnati game where I had total NFL was 7-0 this weekend, 6-0 yesterday. So we got it all back from Saturday and then some, which is
Nice
fantastic.
work.
Like I say, the NFL has been so good to me so far this year. Just a quick check of the numbers this morning saw that I was atop of the Wager Talk handicappers for NFL this year again. So it's pretty good at this point where that league is concerned. And overall, it wound up being a decent weekend because of yesterday.
Oh, great work. 6-0, 7-0. Nothing to scoff at there. That's amazing. I wish I could go 6-0. I could definitely
Listen,
use a 6-0.
here's how we got to 6-0. Ski. I had the Broncos team total over
Oh boy. That
zero
was a
after three quarters. 33
yeah.
in the I as much as we hate when those things go against us, you love to take them when they happen for you. So, we're thankful for that.
Yeah, that was a crazy, crazy, crazy game for sure. Um, but yeah, we have a couple more games to talk about here today in the NFL, and then not gonna talk too much baseball. Not gonna talk baseball at all. It is Game 7, Seattle and Toronto. I don't have a strong opinion anyway. I would just say I think Seattle saved a lot of their good pitchers for today, so either under or Seattle would be my recommendation. But again, I haven't been deep diving or doing anything. I just been watching the games. Um, Anything from you on that before we talk football?
No, not really. Ski, particularly in that series, I wasn't involved. I was far more involved in the Dodgers series, which ended in four. It gave us a little bit of a plus sign there. But this particular series, I haven't had good, strong feelings about. So I'm kind of with you, though. I think either because it is one of those where all hands on deck are concerned with the pitching staff, that Seattle might have a decent edge late innings here with arms.
All right, let's get to Monday Night Football. We have two games tonight. First up, we're going to look at 475, 476, Tampa Bay and Detroit. Opened up minus 4.5 for the Lions. Looks like six. Looks like mostly six. There's 6.5 out there too. Total open 52.5. Looks like 53 or 53.5. Um, Lions are coming off of that loss to Kansas City. The Lions, going back to 2023, Rob, they are 8-0 straight up and against the spread off of a loss. Um, I want to say they're also pretty good to the over too. I'm curious, do you see a big bounce back for the Lions here in this one? Or I don't know. I know you'll get excited maybe for a total in this game.
We'll go to side first. I think a couple of things here. Um, for Tampa Bay, it's four pretty tough games in a row now. Ski. I mean, they've had to play Philly, Seattle, and San Francisco, three really good teams, and now Detroit. They've answered the bell for the most part in all these games. Baker Mayfield's been tremendous. Um, and for Detroit, I would expect a bounce back, especially offensively after that Kansas City game. For the Lions to only put up 17 is a little bit, it's far less than what they expect to put up. And they had some issues in that game where they could have scored points and left them on the table. So I would think at home, the numbers that you just quoted have show really strong home team here. And as I mentioned for Tampa on the road again. So sidewise, I can understand people liking Detroit, but I don't know that I could like them at this price. It just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. And it's tough to, fade the Bucs and Baker Mayfield at that price, just knowing that he never gives up, and the back door could always be wide open in this game. I mean, even if Detroit's up by 13, now if the Bucs score a late touchdown, you don't cover anymore. So perhaps the people who got there early were the smartest. The people that are going to come on the tail end, I don't know. I'd be afraid to. Let's put it that way. I'd be afraid to play the Lions as a favorite at this particular price.
Yeah, I could use a Coke sponsor. I would absolutely take that. They like my glass Coke. Yeah, man. I keep them stocked up over there in the fridge. But Vino, I don't know, man. This Detroit, I mean, I agree with the last thing you said. You could absolutely see a back door here. Um, we know we've seen Baker's comeback efforts time and time again. Like they're not going to give up, even if they're down. So I don't know. I don't like the idea of laying points against this Buccaneers team. I especially don't like the idea of laying points against them when your entire secondary's hurt. Then Branch is suspended. I mean, I keep the same theory kind of throughout sports, right? If you don't have a secondary, I'm not trusting you to get stops. If I can't trust you to get stops, I'm not laying six. So it's just as simple as that for me. I would be looking towards the Buccaneers in this one. The Bucs secondary is not great, but I don't know. They're the ones getting the 6 points here, Rob. Any thoughts on that?
Well, you lead me right into where I did play this game, which was the total. It's 53 now. Could have got 52 and a half earlier. But it makes so much sense, Skee. A couple of things here. The Detroit secondary, as you mentioned, I mean, three starters out tonight. Now that we count Branch's suspension. And when you count them up, Detroit has six defensive backs unavailable for tonight's game. I mean, they're going to, if they go into a dime, they might not be able to go into a dime defense without, because they wouldn't have enough defensive backs. And the ones that they do have available, when you go check out their careers, you're going to find this is as young and as inexperienced a group. You're going to have 3, 4 guys running around out there who really haven't played. And against Baker Mayfield and that passing attack, which tonight, as we found out this morning, probably does include Mike Evans, probably does include Emeka Egbuka. Now, all of a sudden, Baker's got a couple of weapons back in this lineup to throw against a depleted secondary. So for Detroit, the answer may be we have to score to keep up. And I think that's very possible. A couple of things. Detroit loves to run, right? We know that they're kind of a tough, physical, run first type team. They're balanced, but they want to run it first. Tampa Bay is one of the best run defenses in the
There you
league. So
go.
that matchup kind of neutralizes each other. And if Jared Goff is forced to throw the football, or if Detroit chooses the blueprint, let's throw the football, back Tampa Bay up a little bit, they're going to have a ton of openings. First off, just historically, and I don't put a lot of this into my handicap Skee, but it is true that Jared Goff has had some monster days against the Tampa Bay secondary. So it's not like he couldn't have another one. And where Tampa Bay is concerned, the last 2 weeks, that pass defense gave up 341 and 296, almost 300 more to San Francisco and Seattle. Detroit's got enough in their pass game arsenal to do the same here. Last year it was 20-16, I think was the final, but Detroit was 1 for 7 scoring touchdowns in the red zone. It's no way they would be 1 for 7 again tonight. I'd expect more production from there. It looks to me like a shootout, to be honest with you. Back and forth they go. Tampa Bay gets involved in a lot of these. They're comfortable in them. Detroit gets involved in a lot of these. They're comfortable in them. So I would still play it at 53. I did bet it myself. So I think this game probably heads to the mid 50s or higher.
I'm in agreement. I could only see it being high scoring. I mean, the only way it doesn't is if the Lions just refuse to throw and just want to just run against that good run defense all game long. Which, I mean, if you have a brain, which I assume Dan Campbell does,
Right.
I think they should pass the ball. So I like that play on over. Mark says he likes Baker over 242 passing yards. I could absolutely see that. Other props, I don't really. I don't feel too strong about props. I think Mike Evans probably scores. I think Yeah, I don't want to get too much into props. I can see two passing touchdowns from Baker though. Lions side, who would I choose there? I don't know. So many weapons over there too. I think we'll get points. I guess if I like all these touchdowns, right, Rob? I guess I like what you
Yeah.
like. Otto says backup right tackle for the Bucs. Last time the Lions played them, Hutchinson had 4 sacks. So I might be able to pick on somebody over there. We shall see. All right, next game up, Rob Veno. We I'm with you. I'm with you, Mark. I see you in the chat. Next game up at Seahawks. Open -2.5 for Seattle. Looks like 3 right now. I feel like it went up to 3.5 and then maybe came back down. Total open 42, and it looks like 41 now. This Houston team, I mean, for one, the Seahawks have looked to me better than I expected. Um, I was one of the people who said Darno might not look as good behind the Seattle offensive line. He's looked solid. Seahawks have looked good. Um, this Texans team, they started off the season really, really shaky, really bad. I'm thinking, what the hell is going? What's wrong over there? They picked it up. They had a bye week this past week, but the 2 weeks prior, they scored 70 points. The defense has allowed the least points in the league. So, and the Texans, I believe, are 2-3, somewhere around there. They need some wins to get back on track in the standings. Um, the better defense, the better quarterback to me. I know he hasn't always played like it this year, and getting points. I would be interested in that Texan side, Ravino. I'm curious if you see it that way, or how are you looking at this game?
This one's tough, Ski, right on the field goal because it almost looks exactly like a field goal game. For the Texans, I mean, the constant, you mentioned it, the constant is their defense and their pass pressure. They're going to get after you. D'Amico Ryans is a defensive mind by nature, and they've been really good. And they've got the personnel to be really, really good on that side of the football. The question you have to have with Houston is when they lost their first 2 games of the year, they were two really, really good teams overall, the Rams and Tampa Bay, and both good defensive lines on those teams. Rams not as good against the run as Tampa, but you get my point. 2 good defenses. Houston lost to both. Then they played Tennessee and Baltimore, who we know don't play any defense, and that's when they got their wins and looked pretty good offensively. So Seattle kind of wanders or points more toward the direction of Rams Tampa Bay as far as defense is concerned. However, that being said, Seattle's issues the last couple of weeks defensively have been the same as what we just talked about with Detroit. Their secondary injuries have been worse than they're going to be tonight because they may only be missing 2 guys. Maybe they miss Witherspoon and Love, but Witherspoon and Love are arguably the 2 best defensive backs that they have. They could play. I still see them listed as questionable, and Seattle doesn't have to tell us until 90 minutes before kickoff. But if they don't go, or if they both have hamstring issues, if they're slowed somewhat, maybe CJ Stroud can find some receivers here. They did have the off week, like you say, to 2-week game prepare for this one, which is a help. So I could see them defensively causing Seattle trouble. I could see Seattle defensively causing them some trouble. Their front seven's been really good. I think Seattle sits in the top 6, both offensively and defensively, overall rankings, I believe. So they've been really good on both sides. But it's the D-backs that I worry about, Witherspoon and Love here. I don't know. It just seems like a 3-point game to me either way, where turnovers could affect it. The only time we saw Sam Darnold really look miserable in the last 2 years was that Detroit game last year in the playoffs where they just constantly brought pressure. And I wonder if D'Amico Ryans does the same thing tonight with Will Anderson and these guys. Just go after this guy. And maybe we can force him into a couple of turnovers. Stroud's offensive line is terrible. It's another thing to consider here because they can't protect him for anything. So it's difficult. You can make cases both ways. The total coming down to 41 probably made a little sense. But as somebody who plays a lot of totals, I'm not willing to just disregard a 23-20 final and you lose the under. So I think that this game becomes really tough for me, Skee. I haven't bet it yet. You can probably understand why.
I wonder if the offensive line was not good just because they're not good. Was it because the guys were banged up? Because if it's because they're banged up, coming off of the bye week would absolutely help that, right? Um, do you, that's just my thought. And then I like what you said about blitzing. Now I'm forgetting his name, quarterback for the
Darnold,
Seahawks.
right?
Yeah, Sam Darnold. Like when he's under pressure, he definitely that's been his weak point throughout his career. He'll make some mistakes. So I'm in agreement there. You mentioned that Seattle defense. Here's my thing. They've been good against the run, but you mentioned those that secondary can be picked on a little bit. And it's just stood out to me. I haven't really played any NFL props this year, but I did have some success with them last year. And I'm just thinking, if the Texans are, going to have success offensively versus Seahawks team, it's more likely to be through the air, right? Texans don't even really have a run game, and they're going up against a good run defense. So there's going to be a lot of CJ through the air. He doesn't really pass that much. He's had more than 30 pass attempts once so far this season. His prop is at 32 and a half. And I just feel like that's for a reason. When I look at this Seattle side, every single quarterback has had more than 33 attempts. Why? Because that's where they're weak at. So it makes sense to me to take CJ over 32 and a half attempts first time, or not the first time. It'll be the second time he gets 33 plus this season. Any thoughts on that prop?
I could see it. How successful those attempts would be depend on whether the offensive line. And let me go back to that because you asked the question beginning: is it because they were banged up on the offensive line, or is it because they're just no good heading into the season? There's a couple of internet outlets that rated them as the worst offensive line in the NFL. They traded Laramie
Worse
Tunsil
than the
away.
Dolphins?
Well, this is
Damn.
preseason coming in,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So even at healthy, they thought they were bad. I don't think that they've had many injuries. CJ's been running around for his life. In Seattle with Mike McDonald, remember, he was the ex Ravens defensive coordinator. He could do the same thing Houston does, blitz CJ and see what happens. But I don't disagree with you that they'll have to put the ball up in the air a lot because you don't care if they're incompletes or completes when you're playing that prop.
Nope.
Just throw the ball for me and I win my
Just
bet.
throw
So
it.
I can totally see that happening, possibly on both sides, because Houston's not going to let them run much either. I wouldn't think.
All right. Good stuff on that. Hey, it's short and sweet today, Rob. We get out of here in less than 20 minutes. And it probably won't be like that for a while because NBA starts tomorrow. So we'll take advantage of it and enjoy the extra free time to go do something else. We'll move it over to best bets and actually take that off. Let's put this up there before we do best bets because NBA does start tomorrow. Um, Both Rob Veno and myself have this up on our page. It's an NBA opening week special. Pretty much comes out to $10 a day. You'll get every play that we make. And yeah, just get a chance to see how we're rocking to start the NBA season. So, Vino, I'll pass it to you. I'll ask you if there's anything else you would like to promote. And if you have a best bet for the show, we would love to hear it. If you don't, all good.
Yeah, real quick, I do have a couple of NBA futures posted on my page at Wager Talk Skis. If you guys are interested in a couple of future bets for the NBA, go ahead and visit. I've got a couple up right now. Let's go to best bets. And I'll just go back to the first game. It's what I feel strongest about. It's what I bet. I think Tampa Bay and Detroit, the matchup advantages on the field just scream points. We've seen how quickly we've seen Baker Mayfield score points without any of his three wide receivers. I mean, last game or the game before, I think it was either one of those when he didn't have Evans, when he didn't have Godwin, when Ibuka got hurt in the middle of the game, and still Sterling Shepard and company step up. I think we saw Tez Johnson, the rookie, catch a touchdown pass last week. It just doesn't matter who's on the field for him. So giving him his couple of his prime pieces back on the outside really should help them against the Detroit secondary. And I do think Detroit's going to have to score to keep up. I think they can score to keep up. So give me over 53 in the Buccaneers Lions game. Best bet.
Good stuff for Rob Vino. And for myself, man, I got to figure out what's up with this. Why is it not going full screen anymore? Something has changed with these controls, but my best bet, I'm gonna go with that prop. I like that CJ over 32.5. I think it's that number for a reason. If he's only cleared 30 once, has to be 32.5 for a reason. And I laid it out because that Seattle secondary is weak. So if they want to win, they'll take advantage. Like Rob Veno said, we don't have to worry if they're completed or not. Just get them up there. Over 32.5 for CJ Stroud will be my best bet. And put this back up here. Yeah, I've made one play in the NBA. You won't see it if you just try to go, to Wager Talk page and get it. It's not a package. But I have a couple things I'm eyeing. Have you already started to get involved in NBA, Ravino?
I will this afternoon. Ski the 2 game slate tomorrow. I'll give a look at, and then the Wednesday slate. I'll see if I can get something for tonight up there for Wednesday. Tomorrow is $5 Tuesday for those watching, so we'll try to get this stuff up. And there's college football tomorrow as well, so it'll be a busy work afternoon. But check us out because, like I say, tomorrow is $5 Tuesday. We'll try and get something up there for you, NBA related.
No more time to sleep, Rob. We got games,
No.
games, games. 2 more weeks. We got some more kids we're gonna have to handicap and talk about. So I can't wait for that though. If you know, I'm getting involved as first game. But it's good to talk these games out with you, Rob. You definitely help out my process. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Great cappers, great people, and we all are doing the same thing, just trying to help each other win. So I definitely can appreciate that. Best of luck on all your action today. We'll be back again tomorrow talking NBA, and we'll see what else we got. But a couple games in the NBA. So we'll catch you guys then.